Hi everybody. It's good to be back. I'd just like to say hi to Darkside in the chat. Smart Duck, Sylvia. Hi Alfie darling. Hope you're okay. Just a wee quick. The reason why I haven't been on for a wee while is because we lost somebody very special at the end of last year, and it's hit us pretty hard. And this is Pops. And Pops is my best friend's dad of 30 odd years. We've been pals. And he very suddenly passed away. We're all heartbroken about it. And that's the reason why I haven't been on for a while. But I'm getting slowly, but getting back into things. And I just wanted to start this podcast today with this lovely man beside me. It's hard not seeing him, not hearing him. He could always cheer us up no matter what. His smile was just infectious. And I just want to send my love out to Donna. Love you, girl. And that's why I haven't been on for so long. Please excuse, everything's running a bit slow. Some updates have happened on the computer. And I'm actually with Ethernet cable, and it still seems to be really, really sluggish. So I do apologise for that, and I hope it's not too much. Please tell me in the chat if it is. And I'll see if I can do anything about it. Hi, Mum. Thanks for joining me. Lovely Catnet. Hi, Catnet. Nice to see you. Monica Pollock is my mum. Hi, Mum. As I says, I just wanted to start the podcast today. Hey, J Jax. Hi, William. Our William. Thanks for joining us. I've got lights galore all over me, beside me, just for this blooming green screen. But I wanted to start. I wanted to have him beside me while I was doing my live, well, the beginning of it anyway. And just to give a wee shout out to my best pal, Donna, who I love to death. And I'd also like to give a wee shout out to my wee sisters, Josie and Michelle in Glasgow. Hiya, chicks. I hope you are all keeping well. I know we messaged the other day there. Just busy keeping myself to myself. And getting back in to doing the lives again. As I say, Pops he had to get up and go. And he was fantastic. He was just fantastic. And I loved him very, very much. Very, very much. Hi, Jinxie, peeking back at you. Thanks for joining tonight. As I says, I didn't want to start tonight without mentioning Pops, because he was the loveliest man ever, and we all miss him dearly, miss him very dearly. So this is part 2 of the agreed facts on the Luke Mitchell case. Give me a wee sec. I'm going to change my settings, because as I says, I just wanted to start the pod with this lovely man beside me, because we miss him dearly. And I did get permission. I had said to Donna that I was going to be doing a live soon, and that when I did do the live, I wanted to mention Pops, and what better way than to have him right beside me, and doing this, because we loved him very much, and we missed him. We miss him very, very much. So if you just give me a wee second, I'm going to do that. And then I will change the screen. Give me a wee second here, try and figure this out, because I'm running, it's running very, very slow. Very, very slow indeed. So let's try that, and we'll do that. And now I have the lovely Edinburgh Castle behind me. But Jack, I don't know, my computer did updates earlier, and it took forever. So all of a sudden it started going choppy, and I'm in with the Ethernet as well. So I'm not 100% sure what's happening or what's going on. There has to be a setting in StreamYard to fix the choppy view. I don't know. Is it any better, or is it still quite choppy? Settings. Let's see if we can do something about it. It's a new webcam I've got on Jack, so I don't know if it might be because I'm using a new webcam and the computer's just not up for it the now. General, let's see. Shift videos up for comments, banners, audios. Automatically adds, yeah. Record a separate audio file for each guest. No. Camera. Oh, I've not got a Scooby. I've not got a Scooby. I just hope it's not too bad for yous. Oh God, William, I hope you're all right. Sorry to hear that you've got the vid. There's something in the background. I've got all my apps and all that shut. And I've got it, I just plugged it in with an Ethernet cable as well, hoping that that would sort some of the problem. But I can't see anything running apart from Chrome. Let me see. Let me exit Discord in case it might be that, because I had that running earlier. See if that'll help. I can see it's quite choppy. Let me stop that a wee second. Yeah, I think I might need to do that. Well, it seems to be not working for some reason. I've got it on my tablet as well for a double screen, and I can't bloody see it. I've just got a blank icon on my screen. Let's see, settings, playback, normal. You can hear me all right, right? Okay, if you can hear me all right, I'll just go with that then. As I say, it's a new webcam. And everything, and it did everything. It uploaded multiple downloads. Well, funny thing there, Jack, is I'm actually on my laptop, because I was on my PC, the other day there on, I think it was with Becca and Linda, and for some reason, my PC went pop. So, something has went in the PC and the tower is not working anymore. So, I'm just actually using the laptop. And I tried moving some things off of the laptop, like videos and things onto the laptop, onto my external hard drive. I thought it was the fuse that had went, so changed the fuse, everything like that, and it went, didn't turn back on. The monitor, the processor hasn't turned back on at all. So I really don't know what's happened. I mean, I did look up. My PC was working, then went pop, and now it's not working. And some are saying that it could be the PSU unit or something like that. So I don't know. I think I'll need to take the side off, and have a wee look and see, follow some videos and stuff like that, to see. But I've just, yeah, I just opened the task manager, Jack, and it just says that it's my Komodo and StreamYard that's Chrome, that's working, that's running. So I've not got a clue. Sound is good. Right, okay. And can you see my icon okay? Because I can't see I've got my tablet beside me and I can't see my icon. Can you see the picture icon all right? So that you're not just looking at a round circle. Or is it just a circle that you can see? It's a white circle. Right, it's a white circle. Oh, bollocks. That's all I can say is bollocks. Aye. Camera settings. Let's see if I can. Do you know what? Let's see if I do this. And go back to the old camera. Oh, jeez. Hey, hey. I've I've just changed to my old camera for now. Give me a wee second. I need to fix that. Psychedelic. Psychedelic, isn't it? It isn't half, eh? Give me a wee minute and see if I can fix that. I might just need to turn the bloody thing off. Oh, look, now I've completely disappeared. Okay. And slowly she comes back into focus. There we go. There we go. Bugger it. That'll do. You can see me. You can see the background. That's all that matters. Exactly, William, eh? Fucking hell. Jeez, oh. Right. Okay, we're back again. So we'll just switch. Right. That'll just need a day. I should have went to Specsavers, Mum. Yeah, I should be back now. Back again. Right. Bingo. We're cooking with gas now. Right. As I says, this is part 2. Oh, Dark Side, this one's for you, but I'm a big Terry Pratchett fan. But I thought I would wear this t-shirt tonight. Hold on a wee second. Look. It's my Dark Side of the Turtle. BW Haggis, thanks very much for joining. So yeah, I'm a big Terry Pratchett fan, and I seen that, and I got it as a present. So I was like, yeah, I've got to have that. Dark Side of the Turtle, why no? So, and I would just like to shout out to Dark Side. Thank you very much. I had to look back on some of my other videos that I'd done a few months ago, and I noticed that you were in the comments, making some comments and things like that. So a big thank you for that. So I think we'll get started. Please do excuse the hair. I've not had a time to get hair cut or anything like that, so I've not been able to get it coloured. But hey ho, that's the way it goes. So let me just get this screen shared so as that I can get started. As I say, this is part 2 of the agreed facts on the case That's the wrong view. Let's do it that way. Oh, come on. What's happening with bloody technology tonight? Hiya, Sylvia Hen. Thanks for joining me. Nothing's bloody working for me tonight. Jesus. Hi, Paul. Thanks for joining me. I'll get started once I can figure out what the blooming hell's gone on. I think I'll move back a wee bit. That's better. So that my ugly mug's not right up at the front of the screen. Right, let's see. Right, that should pop in there the now. Hopefully that'll work. Oh my bloody God, man. Nothing's working tonight. It really isn't. Jesus. I had it all set up and all. Right, wait a wee minute. Right, there, add that. There we go. About friggin' time. Jesus. Right, that should be popping in there the new folks. There we go. Hallelujah. I just need to fix this quality on this. If it's going to work. Now, so, right. I know, Dark Side, about bloody time. You'd think I hadn't done this before, why things are bloody gone. You know what I mean? Right, okay. Right. As I says, this is video 2 of the agreed facts, the Luke Mitchell and Jodie Jones case. Right, that's better. Right, so this is the agreed facts of the Jodie Jones case that I spoke about in the first video. I done about 20 slides the last one, so I'm just going to go back a couple. Now this information is taken from the book Innocence Betrayed. It is also from documents and the appeal documents and the book. Oh, T1, thanks very much for joining me. Nice to see you here. Yes, it's the Scottish Bible Studies, aye. Jasnaz, nice to see you. Right, okay. So, I think where I finished off in the first video is the questions about Joe. No, I'll need to go back one more. Right, it's somewhat surprising to realise that the only point at which the police asked if Luke had seen Jodie was the very first officer who took the missing person details from Judith. Arriving at the waste ground at the back of Reed Drive and then failing to locate Luke and Jodie, because remember the cops went the wrong way. It would have took them 6 minutes for Jodie's house to walk from Jodie's house to the path. 6 minutes it would have took them if they knew where it was, but they didn't. So they took their motor and they went to the high school, and they parked at the high school, and the way they came in was down the wrong path, and they were heading away for Rowan-Dyke's path. So that brings me on to T1. I couldn't tell you, to be honest, if Luke and Jodie's cases received following from the West Memphis 3. That I'm not 100% sure about, but there's some similarities with how Luke got treated to how Damien Eccles got treated, because of the type of music that he was into, and that he was a bit a loner and everything like that. Well, I mean, Luke had pals. He did have pals, but everybody called him a weirdo. The ones that didn't go home with him and everything like that, which isn't right, just because of how he dressed and everything like that. It's not right that can be put on somebody like that. So I would like one of them to follow the case, but I honestly don't know if any of them do. So this is where they arrive at the waste ground at the back of Reed Drive, failing to locate Luke or Jodie, and the police on the ground called the control operator and asked them if they had a name and a number. That they had a number. So the question about Jodie was never answered because the control operator failed to pass it on to any of the officers, and it was never asked again. Never. It would later emerge that the only contact number that the police had was Luke, even though Alice, Janine, and also had their phones with them. Worse still was that one of the two police responding to the missing person report noted in a statement that they had the impression that he was under the impression that Jodie left with Luke. Where did that come from? You know what I mean? At 5 o'clock. So you've got to remember, Jodie also knew that Luke wouldn't be out until at least 5:30, 6 o'clock. At least 5:30, 6 o'clock. Because he cooked the dinner and that for his ma and his brother, because he was the first one home. So where they got the information, I mean, as assumptions, and you'll see that this case is a lot of assumptions, especially coming from the police. Right? So I'll go back to that one anyway, right? Right. So he reported a statement that he was under the impression that Jodie left home with her boyfriend at around 5 p.m. that evening. So it's no surprise he was suspicious, especially if he was told by Judith that Luke never seen Jodie that night. Didn't her stepdad say they just left or something like that? Aye, that was when Luke phoned Jodie's landline, Jodie's mom's landline. Oh God, let me get the time right. I think it was 5:32 p.m. He called, never got an answer, and then phoned back at 5:40 p.m. and yeah, well, 5:32 William and 5:40 5:40 p.m. he phoned back. So nah. And that's when he got an answer from Alan Ovens, which was the stepdad. Ish, aye, ish. I'll give you that one, ish. And when Luke phoned, Alan Ovens told them they had just left. Now, why would they say they just left instead of saying, oh, she's just left? So who left where at the same time? If he's saying they left, you know? So if that police was under the impression that it was only Luke, I just lost my train of thought there. If he thought that Luke was the only one that was out looking, you know what I mean? There has never been. Then who told Alan Ovens that they left? Nobody tell Alan Ovens that he left, because when he was in the bog, after he came home from work, he heard somebody leaving and they weren't in the living room. But see, that's it, William. You've got to remember, the statements change left, right and centre. 1 minute it's he's seen people in the living room, Judith, Jodie and Joseph in the living room. And then it's, oh no, it might not have been, but he knew somebody left that at that time. Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. So there is never been an explanation of why he formed the impression that Jodie left home with Luke earlier that evening. Thanks for the translation, Darkside. Well, no, because apparently nobody had to tell him, because in one of his statements he says he's seen Jodie and Judith and that sitting in the living room. So if he's seen Jodie and that sitting in the living room when he went by to go to the bog, and then he came out the bog and it was only Judith and that was in the living room, then who does that leave that was left? Joseph and Jodie. So common sense tells you that if they were there when he came in for work and he's seen them in the living room, and then he went to the bog and then came out the bog and they weren't there and he heard the front door gone, then it was them that left. So in my opinion, and this is my opinion, so as I say, there's been an explanation about why he got the impression that Jodie left home with Luke earlier that evening. So whether he was told that or he just simply assumed it, if he assumed it, on what basis? On what basis did he have to assume that Luke and Jodie left that house together? Right? So in Judith's first statement, in Judith's first recorded statement to the police at 2:45 a.m. on July the 1st, she said Luke told her in the 10:59 p.m. call he was coming up the path on his bike. It is not clear if this was passed on to the two officers who took the missing persons details. So somewhere in the confusion between the officers arriving at 18 minutes past 11 to take the missing persons report, and the back and forth relay between the information between them and the control, one of the officers stated, I think there's been a wee falling out. That's why he's gone galloping about at the back of the school. Unquote. At this stage, this is one officer appeared to believe Jodie and Luke were in the same vicinity together. You know what I mean? Why? You know what I mean? Why come to that conclusion? Gallopers in part because the cops got lost. Remember I said earlier on, the cops got lost and they didn't find the Rowan-Dykes path. They went away up the wrong path. But he wasn't there on a bike. He had the dog with him. He was out, you know what I mean? He had the dog with him, so he wasn't on a bike. Now, I've never seen it that he was on a bike. Never. So galloping about arose in part because the cops got lost looking for Luke and Jodie, and control did not listen to what was being said as they thought Luke was alone. Right? Now, when Luke phoned the police in the first place, he said, we. You know what I mean? But we'll get into that a wee bit later on. We'll get into that. I mean, he probably did have a bike, Darkside, aye. But he did not have his bike that night because he had the dog with him. I thought this as I've never saw it in writing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because he would have, if he was on his bike, right, Elizabeth, if he was on his bike, why is there nowhere in any of the reports, any of the papers, or anything like that Luke had his bike with him? Because the bike would have been sitting at the side of the path. The granny and the boyfriend and the sister would have said he was on his bike. But for the first month of the whole case, they all said that he had the dog with him, no a bike. So I'd like to know where this bike scenario came from. Just like the police assumed that he left Judas with Jodie. You know what I mean? So somewhere in the confusion between the officers arriving at reading back and the back and forth real information between them and control, one of the officers stated, I think there's been a wee falling out. Oh, have I just done that? Have I just doubled my thingy, or have I just... Right. So by this time, less than a quarter of an hour after taking Jodie's details at 11:18 p.m, those first police were labouring under 3 separate pieces of incorrect information. I think that, Darkside, I think that was, did I not just go over that in one of the things? Right. And this idea that the dog was put in tracker mode is just nonsense. Any dog would be affected by the smell of blood. It's instinct. No, necessarily. If you're training a dog to do something specific, then, and it was a German Shepherd, and I've had German Shepherds all my life, and they're cracking dogs for training and brilliant at getting them to do exactly what you want them to do. So the dog was being trained as a tracker. So I don't understand why people don't understand that. The dog knew Jodie. And I know when I say my dog, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, he's not an Alsatian, a German Shepherd. He's a Husky. But when I say to him, where's your Uncle William or whatever, the dog knows what I'm talking about. So if he's turned around and said to the dog, where's Jodie? Go find Jodie. Then that's putting the dog into a certain mode to search for somebody or something, because that was the commands he used. Seek and find were the commands that were used. So I don't know how people don't understand that the dog couldn't have been in tracking mode. If she's been given a certain command to do something that she knows, then the dog's going to do it, and the dog's going to be in tracking mode. So I mean, you're allowed to have that opinion, Elizabeth. You really are. But I don't agree with it. I really don't, because if a dog is being trained for something and you say these specific commands, then that dog's going to do that. This idea, putting tracker mode is just nonsense. Any dog would be affected by the smell of blood. Well, if that's your logic, Elizabeth, right? If that is your logic, right, that any dog would have been thinking to blood, right? Why did the guy's 8 dogs no sense it when he walked through the woods, considering Jodie was meant to be killed at 5:15? But he was in the woods between, what was it, 6 and 8, 7 and 8? But yet none of the dogs had blood on them or sensed the blood or anything like that to let the owner know. You know what I mean? It works both ways. I mean, you're saying it's an insane story. It's insane nonsense. The dog's not got that instinct. Any dog would have been affected by it. But if any dog would have been affected by it, why did the guy's dogs, 8 dogs that he took through the woods that night, why did they know? Get thing me doing it. You know what I mean? Luke Mitchell, hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. Nice to have you here. So when it comes to the dog, scenario, then the other dogs would have been attracted to it, I know, in my opinion. They really would have. You can't say that for one dog and not say that for the rest of the dogs. You know what I mean? She was supposed to have been killed at 5:15. So if he went through the woods, even say between 6 and 8, if he's went through the woods, then the other dogs would have been attracted to it and all. Not just Maya. So no smart duck. They did name. Luke asked, because Luke went for his end of the path all the way up the other end of the path and met the granny and that at the junction in the path, and then they doubled back up the path. At that point, at the junction in the path, Luke asked if they had anything belonging to Jodie, and they said no. Now, it would have took Kelly 2 minutes to sprint back to the house, pick up something to Jodie, and come back with it, but it never happened. Anyway, so Luke said to the dog, seek, find Jodie. Where's Jodie? So in that sense, the dog kind of went into tracking mode. I do apologise if I don't get to your questions now, if I don't see them, because I'm doing this. I will look back on the chat and I will either leave comments below or you can get me on the next video. Elizabeth, any dog would. He wasn't over there. That's why. He was covering for his son. Well, he said he was in the woods, so... And it made statements that he was in the woods. So he's a liar. I've not said that. Most dogs would react to the smell of blood. It's food to them. Okay, you could be right, smart dog, but as I've said, this guy is supposed to have been in the woods between 6 and 8. Jodie was meant to have been killed at 5. So why did the other dogs not react to it, but Maya did? You know what I mean? If all dogs are attracted to it. To me, that means that she wasn't there when he went through the woods. And everything that I'm saying in this video is my opinion and my thoughts of the case. So, it's covering for his son. Right, give me a wee sec. I'm going to put the camera off the news so that I can have a wee smoke, because I don't like doing that on camera. So I just and I'm going to have a wee look over the chat as well. Hiya, Luke Mitchell. Look, if that's really you that's in the chat, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to leave anything out, because we're trying to get the facts out there. And Maya is one big part of the facts. And I think it needs to be told, because you all said that it was the dog reacted to the war. Right, well, it's no Luke. That's no Luke Mitchell that's in the chat. So, aye, I kind of thought that, Dark Side. Now that I'm thinking, consider he says, used to train him. You know what I mean? Just keep an eye on him for me, will you? A dog needs a scent to track. I at Bloody Wood, I have spoken to several dog trainers, and all have said that a dog does not have to be in tracking mode to smell blood. Right, that's fair enough. Maybe they don't need to be in tracking mode to smell blood, but with your scenario, if this guy went through the woods, a witness came forward and said that he went through the woods between 6 and 8, why did his dogs not react to the same blood? And the dogs would have been covered in blood, because as far as I'm aware, they were spaniels. So how did they not react? You know what I mean? What he said and what he did are two completely different things. Well, funnily enough, that is a hell of a lot that's wrong with this case, because there's too many people that say something and didn't do something, and statements change left, right, and centre. So it's all right for them to do that, but it's not all right for other things to be said. What he said and what he did are two completely different things. Aye, you're right. What he says and what he did is two completely different things. But that goes for a lot of people in this case who made statements. to what they said and what they actually done and what they actually seen in the first place. Tell me this there, Alice. If Luke's innocent, why has there never been another murder like it since? Someone who murdered somebody like they did with Jodie aren't going to do it once. Yeah, maybe they haven't done it once. We don't know. Because there wasn't a proper investigation. The only one that got looked at in this case was Luke Mitchell. There was plenty of other people around Jodie and close to Jodie that should have been investigated the same way Luke was investigated, and they weren't. The investigation was a fucking shambles. From beginning to end, it was a fucking shambles. Tell me this, Elizabeth. How is it that there is none of Luke's DNA on, around, or near fucking Jodie's body or anything like that, but there's DNA of 5 other people, and these 5 other people never got investigated the way they should have got investigated? Tell me that. They're more, in my opinion, there's more proof that they could have done it than there is ever at any of Luke. Because Luke's alibi was all lies. He tripped himself up constantly with telling lies. What lies did he tell? What lies did he tell? You know what I mean? Because somebody forgot to mention something, who then went back the next again day to tell them that they remembered something. They're now lying. Or what about the witnesses, you know, the so-called witnesses that seen him in 2 different places at the same friggin' time? And in the first statements, they said, oh, well, we didn't really see him because his hair was in the way. But then by the time it went to court, oh, Luke was kindly enough to move his hair out the way so that they can see his face. Come on, for fuck's sake. Really? But I don't see people picking these statements or that apart. You know what I mean? It's, if you're going to pick Luke's statements and Corin's statements and his brother's statements apart, try looking a bit more at the friggin' witnesses, or the so-called witnesses that came forward. 1 minute they said one thing, and then by the time they came to court, it was all completely fucking different. So who's lying there? Give me a break. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that Dark Side Eye, because it's some of the questions that it's, how is it no the same, Elizabeth? Of course it's the same. So it's all right for other people to change their statements over the 10 fucking months that it took them to go to court. You know what I mean? That's just ludicrous. It is ludicrous. It really is. It's all right for them to change their statements. Really? Oh my word. Oh my word. Yeah, smart duck. Yeah, but the thing is we can't get the statements and things like that. You know what I mean? I wish we could. I wish it was like America and we could get court transcripts and the interview transcripts and everything like that. Because the way the police spoke to a 14-year-old laddie in that interview is disgusting. And even the courts, the appeals courts, says that their behaviour was deplorable and disgusting and trying to go look into a confession. But nobody seems to think that that's wrong. You know what I mean? It's only Luke changed his statement and Corinne said this and Shane said this and you know what I mean? But everybody else is allowed to change their stories, change facts, change colours of hair, change views of what was done and said and everything like that. But that's all right. I don't think so. I don't think so. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here and why I'm doing this channel. Because there is so much bullshit out there that people are believing left, right, and centre that is not fact. You know what I mean? It's assumptions, just like the friggin' police done assumptions from the very beginning. And there wasn't, not everybody in that investigation was looked at the way they should have been looked at. Period. Period. Hey, Dr. Silkman, thanks very much for joining me. I love you, Doc. Oh, if we were on a bar chatting about this dark side, I'd be up doing the errands, would be gone, everything, you know what I mean? But we'd also have a laugh and all. I'm sure we would. Because we'd have a laugh at all the stupidness that is in this bloody case. It really is. Dr. Sir, eyewitness testimony is extremely unreliable. Just ask Penny Bernstein. You need to examine the forensic evidence. Exactly, Doc. But the thing is, as you very well know, there is no forensic evidence in this case linking Luke Mitchell to Jodie's murder. None. None. Nada. Zilch. Zero. Luke completely different in court than when he was 14. Oh my God almighty, man. It was only 10 months after the fact. So his hair would have been a bit longer. His face and that still was the same. So he can't be that different. Wasn't he that different? Remember, one of them statements said, oh, they couldn't see nothing because Luke's hair was in his face. But then by the time the trial came around, Luke went, hiya, and showed his face in the rear view mirror. Come on. Really? Really? But nobody says anything about these other statements being changed. Why is that? Why is that? You know what I mean? But they're quick enough at jumping on the bandwagon when it comes to Luke. You know what I mean? So he looked like a man. It was 10 months after that, Elizabeth. He couldn't look much like a man. He went from 14 to 15. He couldn't have looked that much different. He was a year older. That's it. His hair might have been a bit longer. He might have put on a wee bit more weight. Other than that, he looked the same. His face doesn't change. The face doesn't change one bit. But yet, they say that he... they say that he just moved his hair out the way, you know? Just tie your ass so that you can see my face. Come on. Really? It's just... I don't know. Look at the pictures. There's a massive difference. There isn't a massive difference. I've looked at the pictures. I've seen the pictures. The only difference is that he's put on a wee bit more weight. His hair's a bit longer. And that is it. That is it. And just for everybody in chat, Dr. Salkman is a microbiologist. So he knows all about DNA and everything like that. He knows how it works. He knows how it's tested. He knows what's done. And there is no forensic evidence that puts Luke at that scene or on Jodie or anything, or even Jodie in his house. If Luke has done this and went home, like everybody's saying that he done, that he went home and he got changed and everything like that, then there would have been something in that house, and there wasn't. No, he didn't. What? Yes, Doc, the DNA in this case was a total disaster because there was 5 other profiles, and one of them, a full profile, was the sister's boyfriend. You know what I mean? But yet, it was Luke that done it. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody else. What I'm saying is that there was other people in this case that should have been investigated, especially when there's 5 other DNA profiles. 5. And not one of them is Luke's. Not one. Not one. Corinne. Hi, Corinne. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining me. What am I up to? Speaking about Luke's case. So I'm going to get back to doing getting back to doing these slides, right? Because I've been on for quite a bit now. It's over an hour. So shambolic analysis made Culhane look like an expert. Aye, Doc. Aye. Hi, Checking Conviction. Thanks for joining me. And yet, you hardly think the bloody police aren't going to investigate it. Okay. Okay. Well, that's your opinion, Elizabeth. That is your opinion. If you think the police done a fantastic job in doing this case by moving the body, cutting down branches, not taking a body temperature or a time of death or anything like that, then on you go. On you go. So let's just get back to this. And I know Luke wouldn't have been on this for a start. I mean, I seen somebody writing, ha ha ha, why would Luke get onto YouTube? I know it's no Luke, but I want other people to come in. But if you're a troll, just piss off, because I'm not fucking interested. And yes, there will be swearing on this channel, so if you don't like that, fuck off. I don't care. Elizabeth, please don't start harassing Corinne, if it is Corinne, because that's not what this is about. And Corinne never lied. Corinne never lied. Do you not forget that the perjury charges and that got dropped just before the trial because it was a load of shit? So, anyway, back to what I was doing. Where did I finish off? Right. Sorry guys, any questions that you have got, I'll just need to wait. I'll keep an eye on chat, but mods, keep an eye out for me, because I don't know if these, I mean, the first one was a troll. I'm not sure. I hope this one isn't. Yeah, Doc, if you're going to accuse Luke of a brutal murder, you better be 100% sure. His blood would be everywhere. And Jodie's blood would have been everywhere on him. She had defensive wounds. You know what I mean? She attacked her attacker. So that person would have had injuries. Luke had none. None. You know what I mean? None. So how do you work that one out? Elizabeth. That's one for you, Elizabeth. Jodie fought her attacker. She had defensive wounds. So the attacker would have been hurt. There was stuff under Jodie's nails, but it didn't match Luke. Did not match Luke. Luke had no cuts, bruises, scratches, blood, anything on him. He was took to the police station. He was stripped and examined that night. So if there was any evidence that Luke done this, where is it? Where is it? If Luke's blood would have been everywhere, where is the killer's silly? No, you're the one that's being silly. You're the one that's saying that Luke did this. And the brutal way that Jodie was murdered, her perpetrator would have been covered in blood. Covered in blood. Do you get that? Yeah? They would have been covered in blood. They also would have had wounds added to them as well, because Jodie fought with them. But there is none of that on Luke at all. None. He was took to the police station. The poor Wayne was stripped, and then he was examined. And there was nothing. Not a jot. So how does that work? Yes, Darkside. They checked Luke. Luke was stripped. He got took to that police station that night. The only one to get put to the only one that got took to the police station, stripped, Clay's taken off him, examined, photographed. But yet there was nothing. And the pathologist said that Jodie fought with her attacker. So who am I going to be inclined to believe? I'm going to be inclined to believe the person who actually examined her body. And he said that she put up a fight. So if she put up a fight, then her perpetrator would have had scratches or some sort on them. And Luke never. And it's also been mentioned that Luke had dirt under his nails. He had dirty nails. He had marks around his neck. He had marks on his body for no washing. He had greasy hair for no washing. But yet there was still no DNA, no scratches, no blood, nothing. Nothing. So how does that work? Darkside, I'm not 100% sure if they checked his under his fingernail, but they said that there was dirt under his fingernails and that it wasn't washed. It wasn't washed. So it was greasy hair and he had dirt marks and things like that. William, if I remember right, there was something under Jodie's fingernails, but they fucked the testing up. If I remember right. Give me a second and I'll see if I can find it. And it was only one-handed Jodie. It was only one-handed Jodie. Right, I'll get back to you on that one, Darkside. I will get back to you on that. And I will get back to you, William, because I think there was something under her nails, but they only covered one of her hands, but that was after she was out in the rain. Left out in the rain. She was left uncovered out in the rain, and they also moved the body. Where is that a good, before the forensics and that got there, where is that a good fucking investigation? Every police knows. Oh, is that mum going away? Thanks, Mum. Thanks for joining us, Mum. Good night. Sleep well. Right. Anyway, back to my slides. By this time, less than quarter of an hour after taking Jodie's details, those first police were labouring under three separate pieces of incorrect information. One, Luke was the only one that was out searching. Two, that he was on his bike. And three, that Jodie left her home with him earlier in that evening, but was now saying he never seen her. Luke was a hash smoker, and he would have had hash oil on his tips and under his nails, but his hands had only dirt on them. He's obviously scrubbed his hands, then dug in the mud. His friend said he was. Oh, for crying out loud, really? Jesus me, Elizabeth, come on. Really? So what? He was a hash smoker. Big deal. Big friggin' deal. He smoked a bit of hash. What to do? And the oil that you get off of that doesn't stick to your fingers, or he might have shoved his fingers in his mouth and went, and took it off by licking his fingers. I know, I used to smoke it myself. So that's a load of shit, what you've just read there. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. It is. And I know for a fact about oil residue or not, because I smoked it for fucking years too. And that's a load of shite. You can easily get that off your finger after you've burnt it and rolled the joint. You can easily get that off your finger by sucking your finger. So just because there was dirt underneath his fingernails doesn't mean to say there was got to be hash underneath his fingernails. And if he'd scrubbed his hands, then there wouldn't be dirt. His friend said so. What friend? What friend said he was digging in the mud? What friend? If you give me the friend's name, Elizabeth, right? If you give me the friend's name, I can go to some people and I can ask who the friend was and whether they've heard anything. I can go straight to a source. You can't lick off. Then obviously you don't know anything about cannabis, about hash. He did not scrub his hands. His hands were dirty when he went to the police station. He played with mud. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right, okay, if you say so, Elizabeth, we'll tell you what. Put a name in. Put a name in. Put a name in. Who was this friend that said that he was playing in the mud? Because I'm sure if he was playing in the mud and he hadn't washed his hands, then all his hands would have been muddy. Yeah? But there wouldn't have been any oil residue there. None. None. Oh my word. Right, okay. He had 6 hours to get his hands dirty. Oh, no, you are not, William. Jeez, oh. Oh my God. Right, okay. Do you know what? I'm not even looking at the friggin' chat anymore. My mods are there. They can deal with it. Any questions you have got, I'll look back over the chat and I'll go over it. Because what's being said is just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. So, right. So they were operating under 3 separate non-factual pieces of information. Luke was alone out searching for Jodie, that he was on his bike, and that Jodie left her home with him earlier in that evening, but was now saying he wasn't there. Right? Luke was still on the phone to the police, desperately trying to tell them where the search party was and that the situation was urgent. Then Steve Kelly called 999 from Janine's phone at 11:44 p.m, screaming down the phone, "It's a body. Tell this a fucking body." End quote. The operator was concerned with Kelly swearing then we're getting the right details. Kelly said 5 times that the search party was on the path still. The operator believed Kelly was at Judith's house. The police on the ground never clicked that it was 2 different people talking to the operator. Now, to me, the police shouldn't have been thinking nothing. They should have been getting facts at this precise moment. Right, where was Luke? Oh, well, he's saying, we've found something. But yet the operator was more concerned about Kelly saying, it's a body, tell them it's a fucking body, than taking proper information down. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? And that there was 2 different people talking to the operator. So the police on the ground didn't even think that it was 2 different people. They just thought that it was Luke. Stop fucking deleting the messages, Linda. Oh, right. There's just a load of fucking nonsense going on in the chat. Deary me. So, next one. Instead, he appeared to be under the impression, and this is the police, he appeared to be under the impression that all the information being passed on to him for the control was coming from Luke. So the cops on the gun doesn't the cop and the controller isn't he telling police on the ground that's looking for the search party that there's 2 people on the phone saying that something's been found? No, they're just making out that it's Luke that's there. You know what I mean? So the information isn't even being passed on correctly for the controller to the police on the ground. The fact that none of the search party moved from the V-break after Jodie was found, no one was galloping around anywhere. The senior officer later stated that Luke, quote, led his officers a merry dance, unquote, that evening, and playing games, not the fact that the police went down the wrong friggin' path. You know what I mean? Yes, I can say the same, Elizabeth. I can definitely say the same. And I really hope you do. I really hope you do. Come out and say that you were wrong about that laddie when it comes out that he is innocent, because he is innocent. I have not seen any proof whatsoever that that laddie done it, and I'm quite capable, very capable, at looking at both sides of the coin, both sides. But the information that I've received, the information that I've read, and the information that I have got, and the people that I have spoken to, I believe them more than I believe the police investigation that happened, or should I say the non-police investigation that happened. I can look at both sides, and I'll come on this channel and I will put my hands up and say, wow, fuck man, I got it wrong. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and you're welcome to your opinion, whenever, whatever your opinion is, you're entitled to that. I just don't agree with it, because I believe that laddie is innocent and he's in jail and he should not be in jail. And there's a murderer out there walking about. Whether it was somebody passing through, whether it was somebody else, we'll never know that, because the police never done a proper investigation. Period. Yes, dark side. Yes, there was male DNA found on the clothing, and it was a full profile DNA of Stephen Kelly, which was the sister's boyfriend who was at the scene of the crime. But remember, you've got this, oh, well, she borrowed the sister's t-shirt. They didn't even stay in the same friggin' house to borrow the sister's t-shirt. Yes, well, I hope everybody that thought that Luke was innocent when Luke was guilty, and it comes out that he's when it comes out because when, not if, when it comes out that he's innocent, I hope everybody that says that Wayne was guilty give him the biggest apology, because he deserves it. Yeah, and if he's guilty, I'll hold my hands up to it. But I've not seen anything, Elizabeth. I have not seen one iota of evidence, physical evidence, to tell me otherwise. And I'm not going to go with what the friggin' media said, because that was all fed to them anyway through the cops. So, instead, he appeared to be under the impression that all the information being passed on to him from the controller was coming from Luke. The fact that none of the search party V-break after Jodie was found, no one was galloping about. And as I say, the senior officer that Luke led them on a merry dance. What, when his police took the wrong path? How is that Luke leading them on a merry dance? You know what I mean? The reality is that it was the police misunderstanding of where the search party was, how many people were out looking, and who was giving the information to the control operator that led officers to perceive that Luke was playing games with them. One of the operators made a statement saying that the caller did not seem genuinely upset at finding a body. He was more annoyed at the length of time the police was taking and did not react the way the operator would think you would react to finding a body. This statement was never used in evidence. Oh, what do you know? Funny that, eh? Why? Because that was Stephen Kelly's phone call to the police, not Luke's. So the operator, now see, this is what I'm talking about, people. This is what I'm talking about the mistakes in this case, right? The operator said that, oh, the person that phoned in didn't seem to be bothered that it was a body that they found. You know what I mean? It wasn't even Luke that made that call. It was Kelly that made that call. And because it didn't go against Luke, they never used it. Because it was Kelly that made that call. Because I guarantee you, if it was Luke that had that attitude on the phone, they would have used it in that bloody court. So, no. I'm done. So, given the amount of adverse media coverage in this case attracted, there are two ways of interpreting the control operator's statement. Either He was influenced by commonly disseminated portrayals of Luke as a cold and emotionless, and assumed the call he took was from Luke, or he was given his honest opinion that Kelly did not appear to be genuinely disturbed by finding Jodie's body. Pardon me. So, in Stephen Kelly's 999 call from Janine's mobile at 11:44 p.m, he said, now, quote, "We called the police an hour ago. They were in the mother's house and they're supposed to be meeting us here, but there's no sign of them," unquote. When looked into more clearly, this was a strange statement to make. You're right, it was a strange statement to make. In my opinion, anyway, it was a strange statement to make. It is claimed that Alice, Jodie's granny, told Jeff to call the police in a call at 11:03 p.m. Right? Keep note. Keep note times and things like that, right? It's claimed at 11:03 p.m. the family leaving Alice's house immediately after he looked for Jodie, but the search trio would not have known Judith called the police from hers. Exactly. Alice phoned Judith 11:03, said, "Right, if you still haven't seen her, phone the police." And then they've left Alice's house. So Janine, Stephen, and Alice have all left her house in Mayfield, and they wouldn't have known when Judith phoned the police, because there was no further contact until 11:18 p.m. when Judith called Janine while the search trio were on their way to the path and told her the police was there. So who were the we who called the police an hour ago, to whom Kelly referred? If he was referring to the action to Judith to call the police, it was only a little over 40 minutes previously, and the police were not and could not have been in Judith's house then at 11:18 p.m. to Janine stating the police were there. Right? So that was prior to the search party meeting up with Luke, prior to the double checking of the path, to finding the body in just 25 minutes before the 999 call for Kelly. So it may be that Kelly was referring to either to Luke's call to the police at 11:35 p.m. or their call back Luke at 11:38 p.m. A call in which the arrangement for the police to meet them was made, but those were literally just a few minutes earlier. In fact, the 6 minutes between the police call to Luke and Kelly's 999 call is about the same time it would have taken the police to get from the house to the V-break if they went the right direction. Now, I said that earlier. It would have only have took them about 6 minutes if they went straight for the house to the path. But they didn't. They went the wrong direction. So, in summary, right, the only calls, arrangements had been made for the police to meet the search party on the path were the one from Luke at 11:35 and then the return call from the police at 11:38, trying to tell them where he was. Just 9 and 6 minutes respectively before Kelly's 999 call, claiming the search party had called the police an hour ago. Kelly might have exaggerated the time lapse just to hurry the police up, or it did feel that long. That's true. That could be the case. But and by odd coincidences, Kelly's hour-ago claim... Is that the right one? I've just lost my place now. Yeah. By an odd coincidence, Kelly's hour-ago claim placed the first call to the police at 10:44 p.m. 10:44 p.m. Just 1 minute out from the mysterious first unidentified call reporting Jodie missing. This will be the first of many coincidences. Yes, that's right, people. You heard me correctly. There was a phone call at 10:44 p.m. that Jodie, to the police, that Jodie was missing. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Because $10:38 was when Judith texted Luke with a message, right, Toad, 2 weeks grounding, say goodbye to Luke. Right, at 10:38 p.m. And then Luke phones her back straight away. Luke phones her back and says, I've not seen her. She's not been with me all night. So Judith hangs up the phone. And you would think that it would be phoning round the pals, phoning round relatives to find out where she was. And at 10:49 p.m, Judith calls back in tears. Jodie's nowhere to be found. But at 10:44 p.m, somebody has phoned the police and reported Jodie missing. Kelly's first comment to the police when they showed up at the path was, quote, I suppose you've been to my house already, unquote. Again, another weird statement to make. Because either he thought that on leaving Judith's house after the 11:18 p.m. call, the police went to the house looking for Jodie before they got to the path. Right? Or he thought that between their call to Luke at 11:38 p.m. and then them arriving at the path, they went to his house to look for Jodie, but there is a big difference between the two. It wasn't, William. No, it wasn't. It was not. I'm getting there. Right? So, Or he could have thought that between gone to the call made, gone to the path, that they would have went to Jodie's. But people, there's a big difference, right? the two at 11:18 p.m. the police would have gone to the house looking for a girl who was late home, right? And then after the 11:38 p.m. call, they would have gone to the house in relation to a call saying a body has been found. To which one was Kelly referring to when he said, I suppose you've been to my house already? Why? When Jodie was not known to go to the sister's boyfriend's house. So why would the police go to his house, A, if they were only looking for a missing person, or B, if it was after they'd found a body? Why would he come out with that statement and say, oh, well, I suppose you've been to my house then? Is that just me, or is that weird or not? You know what I mean? But people... So, right, we'll continue, right? So, by the time the transcripts was typed up for use as evidence, the incoming number had been changed to Janine's number. What the fuck? Had the two numbers differed by a digit or two, the error could easily have been explained as accidental, right? So, 4-9 getting mixed up for a 9-4 or something like that, if it's been took down in the notes, you know what I mean? Fair enough. But they were completely different numbers. So not a simple error. Not a simple error. A decade later, just let me make sure I'm getting the right ones here, right? Yeah. So, a decade later, right? 10 fucking years later, it would be discovered that the phone number originally noted in the police record for Kelly's 999 call was not Janine's number, nor was it a number connected to any person whose phones were recorded in the documents released to the defense. Really? Really? By the time the transcripts was typed up for use as evidence, the incoming number had been changed to Janine's number. You know what I mean? It's... And as I say, if a digit or two had been changed, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, as I say, a 4, say it was a 4-9 instead of a 9-4 when it should have been a 9-4. You know what I mean? That's an easy enough mistake to make. But it wasn't. It was a completely different number. A completely different number. Right. When the police finally got to the search party at around 11:50 p.m., there were very clearly 4 searchers. Stephen and Janine had gone up the path a wee bit to look for the police, to wave them down. Trying to attract the police's attention. By then, the searchers knew the police were on their way. There was no doubt that there was 4 people in total at the wall. 4 people in total at the wall. All right. They'd gone a few paces up. So it was thinking that there was 4 people up against the wall, right? Up at the wall. But the first officer to reach them then leapt into strange conclusions that the search trio must have turned up after Luke found Jodie. You know what I mean? Police in this case are quite good at making assumptions and no following fucking facts. You know what I mean? The control operator had already told this officer, the laddie says he's found something, but he won't say what. Literally, a minute or so before this officer met the search party, his partner was further up the path. He was told, they're saying it's a body. With this in mind, with his mind so firmly set on Luke, when the officer appears to have been interpreted, he's saying he's found something. As Luke alone finding something, the operator apparently thinking the same. Are you able to watch that? Are you able to watch the video all right, or is it jumping a lot? It's jumping a wee bit. Right, wait a minute. Let's try it this way. See if that'll help. I don't know what's going on with it today. Right, so did I just do that one? Right, okay, it's not jumping on my end. Right. Okay, right. So the control operator had already told this officer, right? So already he's thinking, well, there's one. How come there's one? There's 4 people here. How come there's one? You know what I mean? So the operator's not even picking up on Luke saying, we have found something. You know what I mean? He's just thinking, the laddie's saying this and the laddie's saying that, when there's 2 different phone calls going on at the same time about the same incident. But yet this police is saying, oh, well, he's. The confirmation that it was a body coming from some other source, they're saying, i.e. the trio who he appeared to believe turned up after finding the comments, right? This appears to have come about because throughout the conversation with the control operator, Luke referred to we in the singular. He says he found, right? So that's what the police guy's picking up. Luke's saying we found a body. But the operator is telling the other police he's found a body. You know what I mean? This appears to have come out because throughout the conversation he says he hears me. Right? The officer radioed his partner Can you come down the path? There's a grandmother and a couple, the sister and her boyfriend here. Get the details of them, I think. The boyfriends found it. Right? Know that they found it, but the boyfriends found it. You know what I mean? So, clearly, by this stage, the officer knew a body had been found, but was unaware that all four of the searchers were on the path and were involved in finding the body. Right? So, you've got the operator who's saying, oh, he's found a body. You've got Luke saying, we found something. We found something. Can you send somebody? We found something. But the operator saying, oh, he's found something and passing it on. Know that the laddie's saying that they've found something, which would have been very appropriate. Perhaps a control officer who believed that Kelly and the others were in Judith's house concluded that they must have made their way to the path after Luke found Jodie's body and passed the erroneous information to the officers at the scene. It seems absolutely clear that for whatever reason, both the searching officer and the control operator were working from assumptions. That was Luke and only Luke that they were trying to locate somewhere behind New Battle High School, and Luke was alone. Those police have no idea that the other three were with them throughout. The other police did indeed just get the details of the family trio, i.e. names, date of birth, relationship to Jodie, not the details of the search or finding the body. That never happened until at least 4 hours later. 4 hours later. You know what I mean? You've just came across a dead body. You came across these people who have found a dead body. You take names, you take date of birth, you take the address. Okay, what happened? How did you come about this? You know what I mean? What was wrong with them? Oh, well, we came up the path. Luke went over the wall. The dog reacted. Luke went over the wall. He went a wee bit further in, found something, and then we phoned you. Where's that detail? No, they got that 4 hours later. So, nothing was done right in this case. Nothing. According to all the statements, Judith told the police that Alice, Stephen, and Janine were out looking for Jodie, including Luke, but not that all four were together because she never knew they had all met up. Exactly. So, well, as I say as well, I just rethink me there. You said that phone call was for Corinne. Her phone number would have been took and would have been in the records, and the defence would have had the records. And so would the prosecution have had her phone number because they were trying to charge her for lying. So they would have had her phone number. But yet that phone number that made the 10:44 p.m. missing call about Jodie was not Corinne's. So it wasn't registered to any of them apart from Janine after the fact. Yeah, I know it's your opinion, William. I know. I'm always good, Andy. I'm always good. Nice to see you, Andy. Thanks for joining us in chat. I don't recall. Hi, lovely. Glad you made it. So, in fact, based on her belief that Jodie should have been mucking about up here, it seems strange that the police did not take the numbers of the 3 searchers heading down from Mayfield, and that they didn't consider trying to meet those searchers or to look for Jodie in the areas she was supposed to be that night. Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining us. So, yeah, the fact that if the police were under the impression that she was mucking about up there, meaning i.e. mucking about up East Seas End, why did they not look about that area for the first? You know what I mean? And they didn't even consider to meet the searchers either. So, oh, bugger. I've just lost my place. Both the assumption. Right, this is that one. Right. So, in fact, based on her belief that Jodie should have been mucking about up there, it seems strange that the police did not take the numbers of the searchers heading down from Mayfield, and that they didn't consider trying to meet those searchers or to look for Jodie in the area she was supposed to be that evening. These events account for some of the differences in the treatment of Luke that night. The question is, why? Exactly. That's the biggest question. Why? Why was the first police completely unaware that there were 4 people out searching for Jodie on the path? Why did the operator not pick up on the Luke's repeated "we"? And why was Luke's number the only contact the police had? Why? The instance focus from the very beginning for the search trio and the police was Rowandyke's path, even though the only person at that time who knew Jodie was heading to Newbattle that evening was Luke himself. So why did they all go towards the path? Because you've got to remember, according to Judith, Jodie wasn't allowed to take this path on her own. Was not allowed to go down that path on her own. You know what I mean? But in court, both the sister and the grandmother admitted that Jodie took that path, and Judith knew that she took that path, even though she didn't like her taking that path. It's my opinion because Corinne had said maybe Jodie had passed out or something. But hey, William, when was this supposed to have been said? By Corinne. How would they even know if she was passed out or anything? So when Luke left the house, she called the police. But if that was the case, William, the number, the 10:44 p.m. call, the number that call was made from was registered to Janine after the fact. So how would Corinne have it? You know what I mean? Oh, right. So she said it on a podcast. Right. Okay. She said it on a podcast. Right. So what was the context of it? Was it, we don't know what happened to her. She could have passed out or something. You know what I mean? What was the context there? Because as far as they were aware, at the 10:38 p.m. call, Jodie was only missing. And the house number, Corinne's house number, Corinne's mobile, Luke's mobile, Shane's mobile, were all on record. All in the record. So I don't understand how you get that it was Corinne that made that phone call, because if that was the case, then that 10:44 p.m. call should have came up with Corinne's number, whether it was the house, the mobile, or whatever. You know what I mean? But I mean, I know it's your opinion, and as I say, you're entitled to that opinion. I just don't agree with it, and I don't understand it, because Corinne's mobile, Luke's mobile, Shane's mobile, the house number, everything like that was all in the documentation. So it was all registered. So if Corinne made that phone call on the mobile, on the house phone, or whatever, it would have came back as Corinne's number. So it would be there in black and white that it was Corinne's number. Oh, this 10:44 p.m. was this landline or this registered to Corinne Mitchell. But it doesn't. It doesn't. So these events account for some of the differences in the way that he was looked at. I've done that. Why there was four people on the path. Why did the operator not pick up on Luke's repeated "we"? And why was Luke's number the only contact number the police had? The instant focus from the very beginning for the search trio and the police was Rowan Dyke's path, even though the only person at the time that knew was Luke. Has Sandra said, is it registered to someone else? No, Sandra's no said. It came out 10 years later, William, that number was registered, wasn't registered. Where is it? "10 years later, it was discovered that the phone number originally noted in the police records for Kelly's 999 call was not Janine's number, and nor was it connected to any person whose phones were recorded in the documents related to the defence." So if that phone call came for Corinne or came for any of the numbers, it would have been accounted for. The number would have been accounted for because it would have been on record. You know what I mean? So you've got to remember, William, and all, that after this case and everything like that, people were coming forward years later to people and saying, look, I was scared. The police said this and the police said that. You know what I mean? So it's just, to me, that is sus. It is sus as fuck. That there was a 10:44 p.m. call made about Jodie being missing, but yet it was only minutes between the calls between Luke and Judith to even have found out that Jodie was missing. I mean, I'm a mother, and if my son went missing, the first thing I did would phone round all the pals, all the relatives, anybody that I could think of. Have you seen him? 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 No. Right. Everybody that's on my list, everybody that I know, they've not seen them. Right. Okay. Phone the police. But this first message was at 10:38. And by 10:44, somebody's phoning the police and saying Jodie's missing. Considering Jodie disappeared and was out to 2 o'clock in the morning, and nobody bothered or asked to phone the police then. But there's been a lot of people that haven't been named, William. But other people still take their word for it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I don't agree. I don't think maybe with that one. These people have never been mentioned or named. There's a lot of people that's not been mentioned or named, but a lot of people still swallow what they say. You know what I mean? Right, I did that one. How long have I been gone? Over 2 hours. Right, I don't think I've got... No, there wasn't, William. No, there wasn't. The only one that knew where she really was the granny. Because she said that she was going to stay at the granny's house to go and stay at Yvonne's house. But she didn't stay at the granny's house. She stayed at Yvonne's house with Luke and Jodie at the back of 2 in the morning, because Jodie was banned for going to Yvonne's house. And even Janine went to Yvonne's house and seen Jodie in there when she shouldn't have been in there. And never said anything to Judith. So there would have been no phone calls between Judith and that with Jodie being at Yvonne's, because she wasn't allowed to be at Yvonne's. She was meant to be at her granny's that night. That time she was out to 2 a.m. There was contact between the mum and Jodie. No, there wasn't. It's Scotland, Alice. We're outspoken. Someone would have talked by now. But maybe they have, William. Maybe they have. Maybe they have spoke by now. You know what I mean? We just don't know. Furthermore, if the police believe he came up the path on his bike, It's not surprising that they would be suspicious of him apparently finding Jodie's body on his own, behind the wall. What possible reason would he have had to stop, get off his bike, climb over the wall at that particular point? Right. But Lothian and Borders Police would eventually claim that the investigation, quote, was first class and left no stone unturned. Such an investigation should have ensured only a robust case against the accused, but also a robust reason for discounting, eliminating, or simply not collecting other evidence. Exactly. Exactly. They did not do an investigation, and that's all the slides I have for you. So, yeah, the people might have came back. Well, people were coming forward 10 years later, William, and saying stuff. You know what I mean? So, excuse me. I'm going to put this camera off now so I can have a smoke. So yeah, we just don't know. But that's the agreed facts of the case. And next, I think I'm going to go over. Well, I mean, what would you like me to go over? The next chapter of the book, because remember, I'm going through the book, I'm breaking the book down for years, and I'm doing the documents and things like that as well. We've got Alice Walker and the Moped Boys. We've got the phone calls, the different times of the phone calls. That's a weird one, the phone calls in itself. Changing of the statements. Go over Shane's whereabouts that night. Shane was at work. After work, he went to his mate's house. And then after the mate's house, he went home and had his dinner. There you go. There's Shane's movements. There's Shane's movements for you. That's Shane's movements, William. He was at work. He went to his mates. He came home. He had his dinner. You know what I mean? So, well, I'm going to try and do it maybe chapter by chapter. I don't recall. Or whatever people would like me to do. What they're not sure. I see BW Haggis is saying the DNA evidence. I've done Williams with Shane. DNA evidence, dark side. Phone calls. Yeah, the phone calls are a weird one. There's a changing of the statements as well. There's that and all. The way the statements changed. Left, right and centre. The DNA from Condom Man and Jodie's sister's boyfriend. Yes, there was. Yeah, I know, Cherie. Yeah, I know there's so much information in the chapters. Exactly. That's why this is a part 2. I think I might have to do a few because there's just so much when it comes to it, and it's hard to just break it down into key. I mean, I know I might speak to the lovely admins and that are on the Facebook group, because they have broke down quite a lot of the stuff for the group, for the official Facebook group. So I might even say to them if I can borrow some of that from them to use to help break it down even more for you, because they've been really brilliant at putting it into certain subjects and things like that people have been asking for. So I just want to keep doing this. I just want to keep getting the facts out there, because there is more and more videos coming out that are still telling the lies, still swallowing what the mainstream media have said. And it's just, it bugs me. It bugs me that this is still happening for this poor lad. And I haven't seen Elizabeth commenting much since earlier. I hope she's all right, and I hope she comes back. But just some of the things that she was saying, I didn't agree with at all. The massive media coverage and what they did. Right. I'm sure the group's done that as well, Jack. Like kind of broke it down. But I did my video on that because I'll do the media as well. I think I'll do the maybe do the phone calls next and then do the media. Or do you want me to do the media and then the phone calls? Because it's just madness. It really is. It's madness. And the fact that people still think that this was a good investigation, and that he's guilty. I can't see it. Yeah, Shuri, I 100% agree with that. One thing people do need to realise is that police do lie, and they cover shit up, and they do stuff to cover their own arses because they never done it in the first place. They might have been within the law, William. With the 1995 Scotland Act, but they're not supposed to name, and that was the only thing that they did until he was charged. And then they said, look, Mitchell, but every friggin' paper that came out for the day that Jodie was fun to the trial and right up to the trial, they would have been as well saying, look, Mitchell, because it was the boyfriend this, the boyfriend that, the boyfriend this, the boyfriend that. If that's no naming them, then I don't know what is. You know what I mean? Yeah, they are. They're unethical. But they should have been pulled through the coals for this. They should have been pulled through the coals for the way they treated Luke. And even the courts said that some of it was bad. You know what I mean? But because they never outright said, Luke Mitchell, until he was actually charged, they still insinuated, they still had him plastered all over the newspaper every single fucking day of the week, on every channel, right the way through it. If that's no naming and shaming, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? And they got away with it, which it shouldn't have been able to happen. I'm just going over the chat now. It happens much more than I ever realised. Yeah, Cherie, exactly. It does happen. It does happen more than what people think it does. Yeah, Dark Side, you're right. It is good to hear from both sides. But what gets me is that Elizabeth wasn't looking at it at both sides. She was looking at for their side and just their side. But yet she's saying to me, I have to look at it both ways. You know what I mean? I mean, especially saying that the dog when didn't put the dog in tracker mode and that. And well, how come the other 8 dogs never fucking realised that the blood was there? You know what I mean? It's when they come out with silly comments like that, it really gets up my goat. Because it's all right for one and no all right for the other. I mean, William will tell you. Me and William have had the conversation that he said, me looking at the changing of the other statements and that, I shouldn't be bringing that, but well, why fucking no? Because their statements got changed for the family statements to the witnesses got changed for the first statements that they ever made to the statements that they've done in court. So yes, I can look at the statements and things like that Luke's made, and Janine, and Corinne and Shane, and I can also look at the statements that the witnesses in that have made, and the family in that have made. So what's good for one is good for the other. You know what I mean? And yes, Jack, I completely agree with you. The media are scum. Oh no, it's William, sorry. Completely agree with you, William. The media are scum. Happens much more than I think. Jack saying, yeah, I know, William, I just think the media influences these high-profile cases in such a negative way. They do, William. They definitely do. And Jack, it's unbelievable how bad they twist things and say things that they shouldn't, and they get away with it. I mean, there's poor Johnny Depp. They called him a wife beater, and he sued them and was suing them. And our courts flung it, they denied it and said, nah. They were all right about calling him a wife beater. And it's now coming out that his ex-wife's a liar. So they're allowed to run their mouth off and say whatever they want. But when they get called out on it, they've got too many lawyers and everything like that there that can have their back and get them off with shit that they shouldn't be getting off with. Oh, it's that. I'm the same age as Luke. When it first happened, I was one of the sheeple who read the media's coverage and thought he was guilty. It wasn't until I grew up and learned about how bad the media are. Yeah, exactly. Haggis. Yeah. BW Haggis. Exactly. I mean, I'm a bit older than you, but I remember when it happened. Christ, I'm just up the road from where it happened. And even back then, I was like, no way has this laddie done it. And then it came out that there was no forensic evidence to tie him to the case at all, but yet he still got convicted. I was like, nah, there's something way wrong there. Way fucking wrong there. But I was naive enough to think that we learned our lessons for the wrongful convictions that we had before, but obviously we haven't. I agree, Jack. Take that one off. I was sick of seeing it in the newspaper when it happened every day in papers. Aye, Dark Side, it was every day in the frigging paper. That law makes no sense. Months of coverage targeting Luke, and then when he's arrested, okay, now we'll be quiet. That's way too late then. Yeah, exactly, Cherie. That's exactly how it happened. It was the boyfriend this, there's a maniac on the loose, and the boyfriend this, and the boyfriend's house is being searched, and the Jodie's boyfriend is being dismissed from school, and the boyfriend this and the boyfriend that. Just because they've not actually said, Luke Mitchell in the fucking title does not mean they're not naming him. Luke's mistake was inviting them into his house for an interview. Now, William, I'll say this only once. I agree. But in saying that was shady as fuck how that was done, because it was the Sky News reporter, and they promised that it would not get aired on the same day as Jodie's funeral. They just wanted to, because you've got to remember, Luke was being portrayed as this evil, satanic, Marilyn Manson, craven fan. And they just wanted to show that no, he loved Jodie, and the family loved Jodie, and everything like that, and they were having their own memorial because he was banned from going to the funeral. That was all that was, and they were promised that it wouldn't be aired on the same night as Jodie's funeral. So that's why they agreed to that interview. And maybe they were naive to think that that would happen. And Corinne has said that herself, that she thinks it was naive to happen. So, I will agree with you on that one. Oh, look, see there, I've said it twice now. But they were promised that it wouldn't be aired on the same night as Jodie's funeral. And that's exactly what the Sky reporter fucking did. He put it into Sky, and then Sky released it on the same day as Jodie's funeral. Now, to me, that was Sky's fault. No Luke and Corinne's fault. That was Sky's fault, because they shouldn't have said to them that it wouldn't be aired that night. And yes, they were probably naive to think that that would have been the case. So, I'm not saying that again. So, right, let's see. Why doesn't Luke and Corrine release their statement if they're so such he's innocent? Because Luke's still got processes and that to go through. You know what I mean? His legal team aren't going to go handing out stuff like that if they're still fighting for him, in my opinion anyway. Look how Krat's 25 minutes press conference destroyed the Avery and Darcy jury pool. Yeah, exactly, Jack. And that's exactly what happened here. But they think because they didn't get anybody for the Dalkeith area that was okay. So they got people in and round about Dalkeith to go on to be on the jury. No, that was wrong. In my opinion, that whole case should have been tried in Glasgow, not Edinburgh. There was no way you could not get a biased juror in for Edinburgh, because it was all over, 24/7, 24/7. For the day it happened, right the way through. And I've known murders to happen in the Edinburgh area and stuff like that, and the trial is in Glasgow, not in Edinburgh. And the same if a murder is in Glasgow, it gets tried in Edinburgh. I mean, it might not happen all the time, but it does happen. And in my opinion, that's what should have happened. It should not have happened in Edinburgh. As I say, as well, you make the most of it. It's because of what he wrote and his statements. Well, what do you mean because of what he wrote? And please don't tell me it's about this bloody pouch. An agreement law, yeah. There you go, William. High five. They're his papers, it's his case. Yeah, I know it's his papers and I know it's his case, but it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, because we've been through this with people on the Facebook group and all. And one of the groups and that, well, it's Luke's papers and that, they can free them up. It doesn't work like that. He doesn't have a legal team working on a pre-trial or an appeal of some kind. He does have a new legal team. Just because nothing's came out about them, just because nobody's came out and said, oh, Bonner and Sons legal has took over Luke Mitchell's case, doesn't mean they say that he's not going to have a legal team. His human rights have been broken. And we want a new independent review so that it can all get looked at for the investigation right the way through. His appeal in 2024. What appeal in 2024? What appeal's that, William, in 2024? And it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whether it's 2023 or 2024. It doesn't matter. The fact is they're working on his case. And that's all that matters, is the fact that there's somebody that's got his back. Yeah, but just because his 20 years are up doesn't mean to say he'll get out. Because he's not going to admit to nothing, William. He's not going to admit to anything that he's not done. And to be able to get out, you have to do all these courses and everything like that. You have to admit your mistakes. You have to admit what you've done. You have to say that you're sorry. You have to go on all these different courses. No, that's never going to happen. Because for one, he's not done nothing. For two, he's got nothing he would say sorry for. And three, he doesn't need to make any changes because he's not violent or anything like that. I mean, we want an independent review. If we get an independent review, then I think that could solve a whole lot of problems for the guilters. It'll solve a whole lot of problems. Maybe no solve a whole lot of problems for the ones that believe he's innocent because they believe he's innocent. So, but to get to the truth, because I don't think we're at the truth. We're far from the truth with this case. I don't think he's not going to. He said it. He said it himself. I'm not going to admit to something I've not done, and I'm going to clear my name. And I'm going to be one of the ones to hopefully help him clear his name. So I will do these videos. I will come on and I will shout for him because I think he's innocent. I really do think he's innocent. How do you know, William? How do you know that? I have spoken to Sandra herself. I've heard it from the horse's mouth that there is a new legal team on the process. I've also not just heard it from Sandra herself. I've heard it from other people that are close to him. So it's from a few sources. It's not just from the one source. There is no mechanism for an independent inquiry into criminal cases. That would have to be established before Luke could apply for one. No. If we can get 25,000 signatures on the appeals for the independent review. Sorry, Smart Duck. If we can get the 25,000 signatures to get the independent review, we can hand it to Parliament. We can hand it to Parliament, and then they have to take note of it, take it into consideration, decide, and then hopefully that's where the lawyers and things like that will come into it. But that's what we're fighting for, Smart Duck. We're fighting for an independent review. And that's why we want the signatures. So please, it's in the description below, as well as where I've got my information, how I've got my information. The Facebook group is there. There is Well, if we need 100,000 signatures, William, then we'll try and get the 100,000 signatures. You're damn tootin' we will. I mean, I'm like everybody else. I wish somebody would come out and say, right, okay, this is the direction we're going, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. But it's just not happening now. And I'm quite happy just to be here and get the facts out that I know and rubbish the mainstream media and what was put in the mainstream media. For this case, because that's all whatever a lot of people heard was the mainstream media. So right, just catching up with the chat. Because I believe the people I talk to, yeah, that's entirely your prerogative, William, and I believe the people that I speak to, and I don't see any reason why these people should lie, especially when they're trying to fight for somebody's freedom. Come on, William. We've already agreed once tonight. What more do you want? Do you trust the parliament system? Do you trust the parliament system to do the right thing with the petition? No, really. No, really. BW. Not really. I don't trust them. I don't trust law enforcement. I don't trust the government, period. Because they're shady bastards and sneaky bastards. So, but I would like to think that they would do the right thing. Because Luke deserves it. They've stole 18 years of his life for something that he's not done. Thank you, Cherie. You're doing fine, Alice. Keep going if that's what you believe in. Yeah, I do believe in it, and I'm going to try and keep going as best I can. Right, you're saying smart duck. There would need to be a bill put through Parliament to create the legal rights of an independent review to overturn court decision. Yeah, well, his appeal, the appeal judges have said that his human rights were broken and that the way he was investigated, the way the police and that treated him was deplorable. So if that's no grounds for independent review, then I don't know what is. You know what I mean? He was a 14-year-old child when this happened. That's what people have got to remember. He might be 32, 33 now, but this happened to a 14-year-old child. The way they spoke to him in that interview is disgusting. And because Luke wasn't a wee puny teenager and just went, yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir, he stood up for himself at some of the times. Like they put 40s in front of him. a knife and things like that, and went, well, where is this knife? And look what it said to them, well, you've got a photo of it, so you must have it. Oh, they did not like that. Did not like that one bit. They would have thought, you cocky wee shit. Just like the interview that Sky done, where he said it's trial by media. The Wayne was right. It is trial by media. What are you saying, Doc? An independent review of the forensic evidence needs to be done in order to determine the strengths and weaknesses of the case against Luke. I would like to see all the evidence that the state had. Yeah, wouldn't we all, Doc? Wouldn't we all? That's how I wish so much we were like America and we could get transcripts and everything like that, but we just can't. The only thing that we've been able to get a hold of legal documentation wise is his appeal papers. It would have to cover all criminal cases, so that would be a complicated thing to have set up. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not 100% sure on that, Smart Duck, to be honest. Dr. Silkman, testing was done again in 2014. Nothing new was flagged up. Yeah, but DNA is progressing all the time now, William. So just because it didn't turn up anything in 2014 doesn't mean to say it's not going to turn up anything new. And not only that, the samples and things like that were coming back for the so-called forensic labs were all labelled wrong in that anyway. So no wonder the testing in 2014 never resulted in anything. One thing is for sure, when he gets out and proved innocent, he cannot stay in Edinburgh or he will get Stephen Averied. You could be right. Yeah, you could be right. BW, you could definitely be right. But I don't think our police would be stupid enough to try and do that again. But then again, you don't know. Doc Siltman, from what I've researched, the evidence they had was at best circumstantial, very limited, and nothing concrete. Yeah, exactly, Doc. Nothing concrete. As I've said before, there was 5 other profiles on and around that body, that lassie's body, and none of it was Luke's. But yet, Luke is the one that got taken to the police station straight after, stripped, examined, questioned, the lot. Other people that was there didn't get questioned for hours, didn't get questioned for days, didn't get clays taken away from them for weeks, that they were able to be rewashed and everything like that. So it was a shambles. S-Mac, thank you for joining. What you're saying, Sandra's superb, as is Luke. Luke's my Corinne. Respectfully, a roundtable meeting with the victim's family would be so interesting. Surely they are troubled by the absence of evidence pointing to Luke. You would think so, S-Mac. You would certainly think so, but as far as I'm aware, they are still 100% under the impression that Luke is guilty. And I think part of that is due to the police and the way the police investigated this and what the police were telling them. Because you've got to remember, the family, especially the three that was with Luke in the search trio, for a whole month, the first whole month, said exactly the same as Luke, that it was Maya that reacted to the wall, that Luke went over, found something, and then came back over the wall, and that's when Stephen went over the wall and found something, and then Alice went over the wall. The boys helped her over the wall, and according to them, she cradled the body and touched the body, but yet her clays wasn't taken for weeks later, and even at that, she said that she couldn't remember what she was wearing that night, and the clays had been washed. No, Alice's clays, Stephen's clays, Janine's clays, shoes, everything, all should have been taken on that night. Especially Stephen and Alice, with them going over the wall, in my opinion. Never underestimate some people's stupidity. Yes, Cherie. Yes, Cherie. I completely agree. Never underestimate anybody's stupidity. Aye. What part of the interview did Luke want left out of the trial? I don't know, William. Why don't you tell me? Why don't you fill me in? I honestly cannot get around the condom man story. Any normal guy knows his story is a lie. No, well, no, you've not only got that, you've got somebody turning up at somebody's house with cuts and bruises and everything like that all over them. But the police stop just before his house. Come on, man. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I was actually quite shocked how incomplete the evidence was against Luke. Look no further than the West Memphis Three with Damien Eccles. Like Luke Mitchell, it was instant hatred by the media. Yes, Doc. Yes, completely. That is 100% true. Because Luke Mitchell was into Nirvana, not Marilyn Manson. There is nothing to suggest, not even on his computer searches or nothing, there is nothing to suggest that Luke was into Marilyn Manson. Janine was into Marilyn Manson. Jodie liked some songs of Marilyn Manson. But Luke Mitchell was a Nirvana fan, not a Marilyn Manson fan. And because there was a ripped up calendar of some sort in his bin that had Marilyn Manson on it, oh, well, that was it. Then came in the fucking, he was interested in the Black Dahlia murders and everything like that. There is nothing to prove that. Nothing. No computer searches, no nothing to prove that. They never found photos on his PC, William. There was nothing on Luke's PC suggesting that he was into Marilyn Manson or even looked into the Black Dahlia cases. Nothing. Yeah, and it had a Marilyn Manson. It was a calendar that was in the bin that was ripped up. So does that make him a fucking murderer because he had a Manson calendar? No, it doesn't. And I don't even think it was a full Manson calendar, if I remember right. Or it was, and he got it as a gift or something like that. Betty Bessinger, who discovered the body of Elizabeth Short, stated that I saw something white. It looked like a tailor's mannequin. And that goes for, in my opinion, William, that goes for nothing. That goes for nothing. If you see, now we're Scottish, William, so we're fucking peely wally white like a fucking mannequin. You know what I mean? We're all peely wally white. Yes, I think he did. I think he did, Smart Duck. But you've got to remember, it was dial-up back then as well. And I don't think if I remember right, you couldn't use the phone if somebody was on the computer. But there was nothing of a digital trail or anything like that against Luke. And just because she said that and he happened to say something similar doesn't mean nothing. It is not a criminal offence to like and follow Marilyn Manson. I went to see him at a concert when he came to Adelaide with my daughter. He was excellent. I didn't go into a murderous rage after either, for fuck's sake. Exactly, Doc. I went to a fucking rock concert with my wee brother and seen Marilyn Manson and Eminem. Does that mean I'm a serial murderer now? Or I'm going to go out and commit murder because I see Marilyn Manson and I like Marilyn Manson? You know what I mean? Just because you like somebody or you like somebody's song or there's a saying or something like that, it doesn't mean that they're a murderer. But I mean, to me, William, there's no difference. To me, that there's no way I would have associated that saying, "Oh my God, it looked like a mannequin," because it was to do with the Marilyn Manson murders. I would have said that because would have looked like a mannequin, because a pure white body would look like a mannequin. Yeah, as I've said, just because that was said, maybe he didn't want to say it was a body. Maybe you've got to remember he's just found his bloody girlfriend. You know what I mean? Maybe he didn't want to say her body. Yeah, and if you remember, the pathologist also said that it wasn't to the Elizabeth Short murder. The pathologist also said that Jodie fought for her life. But yet there was no marks on Luke whatsoever. You know what I mean? Just because somebody says something doesn't mean to say that they're a murderer or could be the murderer or whatever. Just like there was a whole load of thing me about the lyrics to the song that he wrote as well. The murder of Elizabeth Short was done by a sick psychopath who displayed her like a piece of art. That was a crime where the murderer took his time. A skill of a surgeon was not needed to beseech her. No. Exactly, Doc. But I mean, just because he had a Marilyn Manson, ripped up Marilyn Manson calendar in his bin, I mean, if it was in his bin, you know, I'd see the point if it was hanging on his wall, and I'd see the point if his computer was riddled with Marilyn Manson, this, that, and the other. But it wasn't. There wasn't even a digital trace at all of him even looking at Marilyn Manson things. There were various pathologists in Scotland. You have at least 2 pathologists. The pathologist had the idea it was like Marilyn Manson's photo, not the exact death of Elizabeth Short. Yeah, but was this the prosecution's pathologist that said it was like Marilyn Manson, William? You know what I mean? Was that the pathologist on the prosecution side? Because the pathologist, Professor Bastilli, who actually examined Jodie's body, never said that. You know, the one that done the actual physical investigation of Jodie's body. So pathology. Well, we know that that's a lot of shite, William, because they just the other cases that we've been involved in. They're supposed to be. They're supposed to be, but they aren't. And we know that all too well. So we do. Right. Jodie's attack was spontaneous and violent, nothing like Elizabeth Short. Elizabeth was killed in one location and brought over to where she was found. Yeah, I agree, Doc. I agree. It was an attack and it was spontaneous and it was very violent indeed. So I think I'm going to wrap it up for now, guys, because that's been just over 3 hours I've been on. Jesus, I didn't think I was going on this long. I thought I would only be on for a couple of hours. But hopefully it'll be more of a regular occurrence, doing the videos and that. I'd just like to thank everyone, and I do mean everyone in chat, who joined me tonight. Especially BW Haggis, who just subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much indeed. I look forward to seeing you back. And everybody else, Darkside, William, Silky, Jax, Cherie, Smart Duck. I don't know if checking convictions and that's still with us. But thank you all very much for joining me tonight. As I say, I'll go back over the chat. I'll get out the questions. As I say, I've not seen Elizabeth for a wee while. I'm sorry. Come on, Alice, you're not even close to open mic 5 hours. No far behind it, dog. I'm no far behind it. I think my Scottish havering is enough for 3 years. So, as I say, yes, thank you to everyone for joining me tonight. I am really thankful that you all come in and get involved in the chat. And hopefully I will see you all soon. So bye from now, guys. Thank you.